Welcome to another episode of How You Grievin. Today we're sitting with Traé Ray, who many of you may recognize from Pop the Balloon or Find Queer Love with Trackz. But today isn't just about the dating show, it's about the person behind the experience. Traé is a Kansas City native, Air Force veteran, entrepreneur, business owner, entertainer, and recording artist. So be sure to check out his new single, Hellcat, and that's what it came. In this conversation, we're going to talk about dating, relationships, grief after the transition of his grandparents, and what it has been like for Trey to build a life here in Atlanta. And we'll explore self worth, personal growth, and all the good stuff. It's a reminder that grief can shape the way we love, the way we heal, and the person we choose to become. So let's get into it. Before we dive into that, um, welcome to How You Grieving.
Yes, I'm so glad to be here.
Trey, you want me to call you
Yes.
Trey Ray or
You
Trey?
so I go by Trey. Ray is like a last name, I guess you could say. That's actually half of my last name, but you call me Trey.
Okay, I'll call you Trey. So, you were recently on the show, Pop the Balloon. So,
Yes.
we're going to jump right into it. How was your experience?
My experience actually was really great. Like beyond the I guess because I was like kind of flipping through and I saw some stuff about the nails was a big topic that was kind of like brought up because there was one gentleman who rejected me because he said that the nails were just too much. I mean, but that's what's kind of expected, I guess, kind of being on something like that is
Yeah,
kind
of
of,
course.
like your first initial attraction, I guess. So, I was prepared to not, I guess, not be everybody's cup of tea, but to also like step in and be authentically myself and just kind of see the reactions of, you know, being me. So,
Yeah. I watched it, and now I'm going to give a little background about me and how I
okay.
feel about the show.
Okay.
Um, I enjoyed it, but then I noticed just not your episode, just previous episodes, they started to get a little messy. So I was like, it's too much for me. I mentally like that's just I can't handle it. So I stopped watching it because
Right.
it was a lot of shade and I mean, this is it's our culture, but I was
Right.
like, this is too much for a dating experience that is like
Absolutely.
online and people can see this and we just straight up embarrassing folks. But when I watched your episode, I was like, okay, okay. It wasn't like
Yes.
it was normal.
Absolutely.
So I appreciated that. So the main question of this podcast is how you grieving. So I have to ask you that.
Ooh. Like, do you mean like currently or past
I
or
mean, currently or past, like whatever comes to you when you hear the question. It could be currently, it could be a past relationship or, your experience on Pop the Balloon. Um, yeah.
yeah, so I guess like right now you can kind of say that I'm in a point of transition. So it's literally me kind of grieving the old me and sort of like the old things that I felt like I've held myself back from a lot of I've kind of gotten in my way of a lot of things even when it came to a lot of decisions, personal decisions, dealing with relationships and just things of that sort where I've kind of felt like I've put people on a higher pedestal than me. So just kind of stepping into this new me and realizing that it's okay to choose myself first because I felt like for a long time that, when you're friends or, with someone or, just my definition of loyalty is that you kind of put people up there on that same type of pedestal as you, which you can't, I don't want to say you can, but you can't, but you have to be healthy about it. If you're constantly putting people above you, but you're not necessarily putting yourself like above certain things that you want to do, certain goals, certain aspirations that you want to reach, then you have to start making, those decisions. So just kind of letting go of like old relationships, letting go of things that have outgrown, and that's kind of maybe something that I've known for a long time, but just the reality of that of okay, like this is I've never kind of saw my life with the friends that I've been friends with for a long time and, having the relationship that I have that I will be sitting here now. But it's like, everything happens for a reason. So
What is one of the things that you kind of had to let go in order to like become the new you, or, just within growth of yourself?
fear,
Okay.
had to let go of fear, had to let go of doubt. Um, I have really good discernment, and sometimes it's too right that I don't wanna believe it, and I'm like, "Whoa," like, "I don't think that this is right." I kinda second guess what, the nature of what I'm actually thinking, so that was one of the biggest things that I had to let go was that fear and that doubt of, you don't know, or you don't know this or you don't know that, when in reality, when the signs are there, when things are certain there, when alignments are happening, you have to see that. It's just not all about what may hear good or what may look good. It's what is actually happening. And I'm able to see that. But for some reason, the younger me, past me, choose to ignore it a little bit just because I wanted to see if I was actually right or if I was actually wrong, to kind of prove myself. But
That damn
yeah, that was one of the biggest things.
is that curiosity of, well, maybe this is
Right.
actually what I think it is.
Right.
And then sometimes it's only one way to find out. When deep down inside, your intuition or yourself is just telling you now,
Exactly.
what you know.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a big thing of like trusting yourself.
Absolutely.
What
Trust
it
is
is.
one of the biggest things, and I don't mean to get into horoscopes or anything like that, but I'm a Scorpio, so it's like we're very much a like inner, like most people call us like private or mysterious because it's like different layers to us and things of that sort. So even with that comes to say is trusting ourselves is one of the biggest things. Even with meeting my friends who are Scorpios and talking to them, one of our biggest downfalls is we don't trust our instinct. And it's like we know what's up. Like we can read it 500 miles away, but it's just for some whatever reason, it's just that doubt or whatever that we may have. So, trusting myself a lot more into, like, hey, this is what it is, or hey, this is what it's not. So
When is your birthday?
11, 12, November
Oh,
12th.
that's sweet. Um, I have two sisters. Their birthdays are in November.
Awesome.
But I believe they're both Scorpios.
When's your birthday?
One, this is gonna mess me up, but one is the 10th, I believe, and one is the 17th. I know the
Yeah,
17th.
they both Scorpios.
They both
They
are.
both Scorpios. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything I think past October, I think it's 25th.
Uh-huh.
And then all the way up until November, I think it's like 23rd is Scorpio.
Oh. Hmm. The funny
Valentine's Day babies. That's what they call us, literally.
I'm not into the zodiac signs, but I be knowing. I be knowing a little bit.
Yes,
I be knowing a
a
little bit.
little bit.
Hi, thank you for listening to How You Grieving. Thank you for watching How You Grieving. Also, why haven't you subscribed yet? Why haven't you liked this episode? Why haven't you commented on this episode? And why haven't you shared it yet? What are you doing? You ain't got nothing else to do. Gas prices is high, so you need to be in the house, and food costs too goddamn much for you to be outside parlaying. So you need to be in the house cooking. And while you're doing that, you could be watching this episode and clicking and doing something. Okay? Thank you for watching. I love you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Melissa.
And I'm Athena.
And we are the proud owners of Lip Lock LLC. You can follow us on Instagram. We just are so proud and honored to be a sponsor for the My Black Selves, How You Grievin podcast. And just remember, you can follow him on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube. Make sure you like, share, and comment.
And subscribe.
And just know that even though you are grieving, you have a place to reach out to talk to somebody, and we are so proud of you.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Creative, the CEO of Easton Creative Agency, and I'm super proud that I am able to sponsor How You Grievin, the podcast by Malcolm, My Black Self. It has been a wonderful process with him. I actually just did a show with him. Make sure you guys support, share, and repost as his podcast is something that is all about healing. We're proud to sponsor. Easton Creative Agency is very proud. See y'all later.
So, how did you feel like gearing up to get on this show?
The funny thing is that I actually manifested this, and this is what's so crazy. So me and my cousin, he lives in Birmingham. He was actually over here visiting me.
Okay.
And we were kind of watching like several series of Pop the Balloon. We were watching Our Lives, we was watching Trackz, we were just watching different ones. And he was just like, you know what, cuz like you would look really good on that show. Like I could see you being on that show. And I was like, I never thought about it. But I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, you should think about it. So I want to say that was probably in maybe March ish
Okay.
or end of Feb. It was probably February, end of February. So I kind of like saw the show and things like that, and then I just signed up how you could be able to sign up for the show. So end up doing that, and then just kind of waited for this long period. Actually, forgot that I even signed up for it. So interesting story. True enough, Trax reaches out to me via Instagram because the email that he was trying to reach me from kept coming back as invalid. So he's like, "Hey, I've been trying to reach you. Are you still interested in doing the show?" Da, da, da. And I don't really check my Instagram DMs. So it just so happened one day it's a Sunday. I'm sitting down, just chilling after eating breakfast. And I actually got done watching a couple episodes, I want to say the night before. And I just checked my Instagram, just going through my feed, and then I just so happened to check my DMs, and I see Trax message me, and I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, this is crazy. So I open it, and then it's like, do you want to be a part of the show? So I was like, wow. So at first, I was a little bit nervous. I'm not gonna lie, because I know like our culture can be very much, or some of the people. I don't even want to say our culture as a whole, because that's very much of a negative connotation. I don't want to put that on everybody,
Okay.
but you have a few people in our culture who are considered like mean girls or mean boys. So I was a little bit nervous at first because I'm like, okay, look, I don't want to get up there on this platform and somebody is up there for the sole purpose of trying to tear people down for clicks and likes and things of that sort. So, but
Mhm.
also too, I was like, wait a minute, like, okay, I know how I am. I know how to handle certain situations, things of that sort. If somebody is being rude, is being mean, you just treat them with love, kill them with kindness, pretty much. So
That's
that
right.
was really much my entire mindset of going to that show is just be respectful. Like it's okay to have a difference of opinions. It's okay if someone doesn't like certain things that they may see, but you can say that, but just that's a human being at the end of the day. Everyone has feelings. Certain people may have certain insecurities about certain things
Yeah.
than others. So it's just like, I wanted to go in there with that mindset of, this is real. And you may know what you may say that may affect somebody. So just be very cognitive about that. So that's what I did. And as you can see, that was a reflection of the episode,
Yes.
literally.
Yes.
So
And you were the first one too. I was like,
yes. And here's the thing, like a little bit things back set, they were a little bit when they were asking who wanted to go first, everybody's kind of like looking like I don't want to go. And I was like I want to go first. I'm like,
yes.
why not? Just kind of set the tone. That's just kind of how I felt, was just setting the tone for everybody else. Was just walking in there, not expecting what, but just knowing if I walked in there with a calm spirit and kind of showed the guys that I wasn't on the type of time of trying to insult them or tear them down, then hopefully that is what they will kind of see leading down it. That's what I was actually really happy that really happened. That, it was maybe a little shady comment here and there, but it was nothing like that was too, crazy. So I,
Crazy at
I
all.
like that.
So I'm curious, what is the experience like? Okay, so you signed up, he DM'd you, and it was a yes. So what is the process like getting there? So you get there and like do what is it like? Like
So
do
they
people
separate.
train you and stuff? Like what do they do?
Yes, so they separate us.
Okay.
So, the people on the lineup are in a totally different area than where we are, than the people that are bachelors. That's what they called us, or contestants. So we're in one room, they're in another place. But it's pretty much we don't know anything up until like you literally don't know nothing until you walk in and you film. Like it's just the element of surprise. Yeah, it's so crazy. So you don't now if someone was like to say do their segment and was to like go back to the back and was to talk to the fellas and they may know something, but I wanted to leave that element of surprise for everybody else. So when I instantly got done off of my segment, I just went back there, grabbed my things, and then watched the rest of the set. Which they actually kind of did after me. Everybody kind of sat down and kind of watched the set afterwards. So yeah, but the element of surprise was, yeah, it was definitely crazy. You never know what you're gonna walk into on that. Even the bachelors that I was with, the energy was just so great. We were back there talking and communicating and, just kind of asking questions, filling out the energy, like what is everybody expecting? And my expectations getting on that show was pretty much just the foundation of meeting somebody,
Yeah.
not necessarily off the bat love, because it takes more than just, I want to say, 5 minutes to fall in love with somebody, but at least the foundations of a friendship or something that can turn into something greater. So I was actually glad I actually did that. Me and some of the guys actually still communicate still now. And actually Track's birthday is tomorrow and some of us are actually going there. So, you
Oh,
know, yeah, still in communication, we still talk. It was love, like I'm telling you, it was nothing but love, respect, and just, I felt really, really great. I felt really great.
I'm glad you're sharing that because that sometimes when you see certain negative images on the from the show, you kind of like get that in your head of like, well, this experience has to be that. So I'm glad that you're able to say, well, no, it's not really that. It's
Right.
completely different. Um, but yeah, I was gonna ask you, what were you looking for specifically on that show? But you said you were looking for connection because I know sometimes people go there for just a little bit of clout also because
Yeah,
that's very, that I mean, at this day and age, it's necessary.
absolutely.
Um, and then some people go there just for a little fun.
I
Um,
wanna say I wanna say it was more of like a 90-10, right? A 90-10. 90% finding connections, 10% exposure.
okay.
So, putting myself I don't really get out, which is crazy. I've been living in ATO now for about 5 years, and
Wow.
I don't really know anyone. I don't really have any friends. I'm not
Yeah.
really part of the community or anything like that. So, how great was or grand was to, just jump out there like that as my first, trying to get to know people or getting to get connections within the community and just getting out there reaching out. So, yeah, that was like pretty whew, pretty great. Pretty great. But yeah, the exposure definitely number one, just kind of putting myself out there, showing people my personality a little bit, and then having people maybe feel comfortable contacting me about certain
Yeah.
things and which is very funny. I didn't even really mention music because I am an artist.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really want to focus on that because I know, like, again, like how you said, like people go in
Yes.
there for the clout, for the exposure. But I was actually very interested when they actually do promotions. So I was like, well, if I didn't necessarily say anything about that, why don't I just go ahead and maybe do a 30-second promotion, maybe after my segment, which I kind of felt like was great,
And
was
it
a
was
good call
great
on my
after.
end too.
What song? I'm sorry to cut you off. What song was that?
It's called Hellcat.
Hellcat. Okay. I was like,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
I like it.
written all of that by me. I have a producer, engineer, a great team. So, yeah, like that. And that's actually one of the songs off of my EP. There's three that's on there, but Hellcat is like one of the ones that is really doing some stuff.
Yeah. Hmm. That's dope. I mean, you're in the right city.
Right.
It's a lot of producers, writers, singers, rappers, and everybody seems like they're doing it themselves. Like a lot of people
Absolutely.
are like, this is what I do.
Yes. And I think for me, I guess like again, it goes back to that fear. Just being afraid of putting myself out there, I guess was the biggest thing of, I'm my biggest I guess you could say I'm my biggest op. Like I literally stand in my way of a lot of different things. So um I'm very judgmental about myself, not necessarily everyone or people. I love people. I don't judge people, but when it comes to me and just certain things that I do, I'm very much my own critic. And so like certain things I maybe like, oh, this song is not good enough, or maybe this is not the best sound or things like that. But then everybody else is hearing it and they're like, boy, like put it out there, like drop it, release it, do this, do that. So yeah.
I
Get
feel
it
that.
over that grief, right?
Oh my
Grieving that old me.
Let me tell you. So I used to do a little singing back in the day when I first moved here, right?
Okay.
So now I don't do it anymore. So currently I am like battling with my friend on recording my my little tune to this show for next season, right? So he wrote it, and then I have my own version. So I'm singing his version, and I'm like, I just need to be more comfortable with you because I don't sing no more. And he's like, shut
Right.
the fuck up and sing the song. And I'm like, no. I'm like a little stubborn to it. I'm like, "Ugh, it needs to be done when I feel it is time.
What's
So
your zodiac?
I'm an Aries.
Oh, fine. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little fire.
Okay.
I'm a little fire. I think it's side note. I probably just need to be alone because I got some smoke. I got some smoke, and I like to just be smoking by myself.
Right. I get it.
So I have another question for you regarding the show. Have you read the comments?
Yes, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I
So
have.
I haven't.
So
That's why I'm asking.
I've been in tune with kind of what they're saying.
Yeah.
Everyone is kind of like on that one particular contestant or bachelor who was the tall, light-skinned gentleman with the he had like on the bedazzled sweatsuit,
Yes.
bald head. Everybody was on his head for some reason because of his comments about like nails. And then also too, people were on or and then also kind of saying that he was ready to go and he was over it and things like that. But I think it was more so nervousness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if if you were actually on set, like be and again, like this was his first time putting himself out there, having himself on a platform like that. So
Yeah.
a lot of people were, I guess, kind of judging him based off of what they just thought. But it's nerve-wracking, when you're not used to being around something like that, and then this is your first time being around it. It could be a lot of but he was wonderful, very respectful. Like
Yeah.
actually he actually talks to me. Me and him kind of communicate back and forth too. Like he's great. But overall the comments are saying how respectful, just pretty much that you were saying, and how such a breath of fresh air that this episode was, and how mature it was, and how the contestants really kind of it wasn't all messy or anything like that. Yeah, it was different. It was normal.
So how did you not train your brain, but how did you protect yourself in your confidence going on this, knowing that you are instantly judged, like when it comes out?
So this is me, and this is another thing. I used to be a people pleaser, right? I used to care about everybody's opinions and what everybody else thought about when it came to me. But then I start seeing myself making decisions for other people and not myself, right? So I'm kind of in an era of where I know I'm not everybody cup of tea. Some people may be used of certain things that are on the shelves, and then some people may be used to things that are in a glass case. And I feel like I'm a glass case type of dude. Not necessarily saying that everybody else that I view myself as everybody else beneath me, but I just know that I'm just a certain type of person and that I'm a certain type of taste and that not everybody is acquired to that. It could be a lot dealing with somebody as, confident as me. I like to put that shit on. I'm just gonna say that out there. Like I like dressing nice. I like manicures, looking really great. Like that's just a part of me. So some guys are uncomfortable, being with someone like that because they view that as feminine, and that's okay, to each his own. But I feel like once you get to know me and get to know the soul and the person that I am, like people people fuck with it. Either you fuck with it or you don't. And I guess that's just kind of where my mindset was, just kind of stepping into the situation.
So during your upbringing, like who taught you how to love?
I want to say two people. Really, okay. Really, it was a village, but the main two people was my mother and my grandmother. Were the two people who really taught me, how to love growing up. I watched my mom in relationships and just saw how much my mom's a Virgo. She's super down for the cause. Like when I mean to tell you, like I done see my mama rock through stuff. Like I done saw my mama rock through stuff. Even, leading now, my mom being married, she's been married now going on 15 years, so happily married, and just kind of seeing the dynamic of that. Like that was something that just kind of inspired me kind of growing up. So when I am looking for love, that right there is a reflection of what I'm looking for. It's just someone to kind of have my back, someone to kind of be there, kind of what I see, of my parents, my stepdad. I don't call him my stepdad, but my mom and my dad.
Okay.
That's what I kind of see growing up. But my grandmother is who kind of taught me how to love myself. Which unfortunately she passed away when I was 14 years old. Um, but she instilled in me at a young age confidence. Like every day I was around her, it was you're a winner. Like, that's everything. Every day that's what she said to me was, "Oh, you're a winner. There's nothing, in this world that you can't do." Like, and she
Mhm.
would always ask me when I was younger, "What do you want to be?" "Oh, I want to be a vet." "You could be that." Then next week, "What do you want to be?" "Oh, I want to be an astronaut." "Oh, you could be that." And
Wow.
then, and then I would ask her like, "Hey, can I be this and this and this at the same time?" My grandma was like, "Why not?" Like you can do anything you want to, anything that you feel like is yours, you could have. And um that just kind of really taught me kind of how to love myself, and a lot of stuff, kind of growing up. I always thought I was kind of weird, just kind of when I kind of growing up, my upbringing, I grew up in Kansas City is where I'm from. I grew up in the inner city. And so like being in the inner city, like in the hood, like you get bullied. I know how to talk. I can articulate very well. I'm more into the arts, into the crafts. I wasn't really a sports kid, kind of growing up. So people kind of knew that. And so like growing up in those types of environments, you kind of have to have thick skin. You can't necessarily have everything cut you down because if it, let people say certain things about you, get to you, then you just let it, them control your life, and my grandmother always taught me at a young age, like, don't listen to that. Like, you're perfect. How you are, who you are, don't matter, and everybody, people would say stuff, but also too, just kind of how I handled it. Back then, it was like, hey, look, I'm a person. You got stuff I don't like either, but that doesn't give me a right to treat you wrong because of the stuff that I don't like about you. You're a person. So let's treat each other with respect. I'm not saying we have to be friends or we have to kiki or we have to, be on the playground and play around and stuff, but let's just keep it, respect. And that's literally the mindset of what I've had since I was younger, you know. So that's that.
That's dope. It sounds like you got a really good upbringing.
Yes.
And that's important. I mean, I kind of had the same kind of lifestyle. Like my grandmother was my rock, and my
Yep.
mom is just that girl. So
Yep. Yep. Same thing. My grandma was that. I was that. I was that girl, and my
it's
mom, right. My mom is my rock, especially growing older in our relationship, just kind of moving from more of a child to parent, more of to a friend, a mentor, a guider, type of relationship that me and my mom kind of have now is phenomenal. Like that's my rock. Like me and my mom talk about everything. Even actually going on that show before I even took the opportunity, I called her like, "Hey, mom, do you think that this would be a great opportunity for me to do, just to kind of see, how she felt about it?" And she was like, "Son, why not?" She was like, "Go ahead, do your thing." Like, she said, what she said, "What is the bad thing that can come out of it? Nothing." You know.
nothing.
So
Did she watch it?
yes, she did. She did watch it.
What did she
She
think?
did watch it. I'm actually gonna call her today to kind of hear her opinion about it. I know, but I think she's really proud just kind of seeing how I kind of like handle myself.
Yes.
It kind of was a reflection of her, like, and just kind of the feedback of kind of our relatives and my peers. They were really proud of this kind of how I handle myself. And, he was like, you was very sharp, very dressed well, like you really showed, yourself. So I'm pretty sure my mom was pretty proud, but I can't wait to hear the tea later when I talk to her.
Because family will always tell you
Yes,
things that you didn't
yes,
know.
right.
So, what is one question that you wish you were asked on the show?
I guess you could kind of say like anything. I didn't really get a chance to really
Yeah.
ask questions or to really be asked anything. So I guess just like anything more to kind of like have I guess the group of guys kind of get to know a little bit more about me beyond just the close or the first little take that they heard. And I mean, like, it was so crazy, and that's so funny. Like, Trackz even said he was confused himself because as we're going through the lineup, you really didn't hear anything bad. It was either about the aesthetics, or it was really the aesthetics, or
Whatever.
and then at the end, I guess the gentleman had mentioned something, and his name is Worthy. Worthy is cool. Like, I mess with Worthy so heavy. And he actually misspoke. He didn't necessarily meant like masculine or feminine. He meant more of a dominant, submissive type of
Yes.
personality. And when you look at me to certain people, it doesn't give that. But as you can see, when I kind of talk to him a little bit more, he kind of felt like, oh, like he is a little bit more assertive. Like, cause I'm like, okay, what makes you feel like we good as friends? Like, what kind of gives that? And then he's like, oh, well, then I'm like, well, I definitely, can switch it up. I change, although you see me in a light like this is like me, like this is how I dress to go to work. I'm also a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. I do music. So this is how I showcase myself. This is how people gravitate towards me. When they see me, they're like, oh, I gotta go see this man. I gotta go talk to him. So, that's just me. So I kind of feel like you kind of want to have a partner that can carry themselves and present themselves in that way. But oh yeah, baby, when it's time to, be dressed down and go to the, I definitely got it. You know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like I'm the best of both worlds. And, hopefully when you guys see on the next episode that I'm on, you guys will be able to see that a little bit more. Cause I will be back.
Okay, that's good to know because you did need more time.
Yes.
So being that this podcast is How You Grievin,
Yes.
there is a part of this where I like to ask you some random questions.
Okay.
And I like to have you pick a number. And my numbers are very random.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you pick a number between 1 and 49.
We gonna start with 8.
So, what is the first memory that comes to you when you think of a specific person that you may be grieving or that you have grieved or somebody that's not here anymore or past relationship?
My grandparents. Those are the first two people that kind of come to my mind. Those were the first two people that I kind of felt, not kind of felt, but that I felt really affected me that kind of passed away. And it happened so unexpectedly. It was really crazy how it just all happened. Like I remember it like it was yesterday. So flashback to 2013. It's
Mhm.
December 12th, 2013. This
Wow.
is the same day, right? I
Yeah.
go to one hospital to go visit my grandfather because he was, kind of in and out the hospital. He wasn't necessarily doing so well. So all of our family, we go to the hospital, we go see my grandfather, right? And we find out that he was diagnosed with a stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and they gave him 3 months left to live. So, I'm named after my grandfather, so I kind of carry that legacy of, through him. And then, spending some time around him and, even two-stepping, I got that from my grandmother and my biological grandfather. So like that's, I have certain ways that comes from him. So that kind of hit. But flash forward to not even 3 hours later, we go to another hospital at this point, we know that my grandmother, she was dealing with, and just kind of do a breakdown. Her, I call her my grandmother, but her and my grandfather were together, so she's not biologically my grandmother. But growing up, that was my grandma. So I don't give a shit what nobody say. That's Granny. You know, I called her Mimi, so that's my grandma. But so we knew that she had breast cancer. You know, but I didn't necessarily know how severe it was when it came around the second time. You know, kind of looking back on signs, I kind of see where she was kind of maybe didn't want to tell me everything because of how close me and her were. But she was kind of going to different cancer treatment facilities. Like she went to Tulsa. You know, me, my mom, and my brothers actually went and picked her up from Tulsa. But she also went to a cancer treatment center in Texas. So she
Wow.
was down there. So, but I didn't necessarily register in my mind that something was wrong. You know, because when I'm speaking to her, she's telling me in her mind like everything is going well. But anyway, flash forward, we get to the hospital. You know, they talk to my mom. My mom kind of I can tell that my mom is distraught, but I'm thinking it has something to do with my grandfather. I'm not thinking that it has anything to do with my grandmother. So they actually call us into the back room, you know, where she's at. And she's there. I give her a hug and I give her a kiss. And again, they should have known that I did not know anything because I'm just bright. I'm making jokes. I'm laughing. I'm just such a happy kid, you know, because I just got this news about my grandfather. So I'm still trying to be positive about what everybody's here for. So we're in the middle of prayer. Keep in mind, being a kid, I don't ever listen to prayers, right? But we're back there, we're praying, we're holding hands, and then it's just about life. And I'm just listening. And, you know, it's like, you know, even though they told me I'm not going to be here this long, you know, I know that the power of life and death is in your tongue, God. And I'm just like, and I'm like, hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And like in the middle of prayer, I literally dropped and just started crying because I just couldn't believe that in the same day I'm figuring out that my grandfather and grandmother is passing. Like that was really, really traumatic for me and my family. Like to lose two monarchs like that, two matriarchs, you know, to me, uh, um, and my family was just it was just big. You know, it was very big. So, um, unfortunately, you know, he ended up passing about 2 weeks. My grandfather passed in 2 weeks, literally after that, and my grandmother passed in 3 weeks. So 8 days apart of each other, they actually ended up passing. So that was such a huge thing. You know, it happened so quickly, but the one thing I am very happy about was that I was able to get to say bye. I was able to get those last moments. I was able to get those last tears out. Any questions that I had, you know, during that time that I felt like, you know, any knowledge that my grandparents felt like that they need to spit and anything that they felt like they need to tell me was those times that we got to talk about that stuff. So yeah.
Do you ever, when you do think about that and you have those memories of them too, do you ever say, like, it's kind of beautiful in a sense to where they didn't have the opportunity to live without each other?
They were connected. There
Yeah.
was nobody in this world that can tell me that my grandmother, my grandfather were not soul tied in a way, you
Yeah.
know. Don't get me wrong, their relationship wasn't perfect. And you know, being a kid, I didn't necessarily know all the ins and outs of their relationship and stuff like that. But because they ended up did breaking up as I was still a child, you know, they did ended up like going their separate, but they were best friends. They still dated, which was crazy. Like, you know, my grandfather still took her out on dates. You know, my grandmother still went to go see, you know, they still went to go see each other. Like they were still, you know, like involved in best friends and things like that. So um it's just so beautiful just to know that they didn't leave this world without each other, you know, because and then there is actually one beautiful moment that we were able to get from both of them is we actually were able to move both of them into the same hospice center. And for one day, we were able to put both of them in one room, in the same room for one day.
Mhm.
And they got to talk about all the old memories and just all the stuff, like all the love and stuff like that that they had. So just seeing that, like, even though they did pass away, like I got to get those moments with them. I got to get, those final goodbyes, those final, sense of closure, of both of them. So I'm will forever be, that's what I think of when I think about them. Those are the memories of what I think of now. Even beyond that is the love, the happiness, the this, not so for much of the grief of they're not here anymore, because I feel them. Even when in doubt, certain times when I feel alone, I just sit here and I'm like, I could just hear her, and I can hear both of them. Like I can hear my grandfather like, "Grandson, get your ass up right now! Like what you doing?" Like I can hear him, and I can hear my grandmother like Tinka, because she called me Tinka. Like Tinka, what you doing? Like like you
Oh,
got this. Like look up. Like look for it. Like so. Yeah, that's what I feel. But when I feel of loss, when I think of grief, when I think of that those are the first two people that come to my mind, are those two.
I think that is so beautiful that you even had that experience between them two.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you to pick another number.
Okay. Ooh, we're gonna go higher. I'm gonna go 37.
What has surprised you the most about yourself right now on this journey?
What has surprised me the most, I want to say, is the outcome.
Okay.
Finally trusting myself,
Yeah.
finally not having that fear to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the outcome of it is the best thing. Like seeing the actual work, the stuff that I was afraid to actually start happening, the stuff that I was maybe like, oh well, maybe this will never happen, or maybe this will never is actually coming into fruition. Sorry, once I actually start putting myself in those certain corners. So that right there, outcome all day, any day,
Okay.
definitely the outcome.
One more.
Yes. Ooh, 21.
You all over the board.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know I
I love it.
am.
Some of my questions are very deep.
Okay. I like deep.
It's yeah. So 21 is tell us about the end from your point of view. So the question means, what do you think happens at the end of life from your POV?
Oh, like, okay. This is my honest opinion, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, I grew up Baptist and Methodist, I guess you can kind of say, because my grandmother, she was Methodist, but my grandfather was a great grandfather was a pastor, and that was Baptist. So I grew up Baptist and Methodist, so I got to see both of those things. So grew up Christian, kind of knowing the outcomes of what they kind of tell us of what the outcomes of life or death, either it's heaven or hell. You live by these rules, you live by those rules, you
Yeah.
obey these rules, disobey these rules, these are the outcomes. However, I have come to realize that people misinterpret things and people manipulate, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
For a purpose of what they want certain things to be. So my journey with God has been my journey with God. So what I personally believe afterlife is just it continues. I don't feel like it ends. I feel like once you tap into, and I really feel like it has something to do with energy. And I really feel like it has something to do with just your aura. Like if you live in good spirits, if you treat people good, if you love people, if are love yourself, honor, yourself, your mother, your father, just whatever certain things, however you feel. But if you genuinely step into every situation with the mindset of love, genuine love and respect, regardless of what you may agree or disagree with, then I do feel like that you get to experience something beyond than what we are experiencing now. Don't know what that is,
Yes.
but it is a paradise, not necessarily the pearly gates of what people say it is, but I do necessarily believe that you get to experience a different form of life outside of what we're experiencing now.
Okay. I don't know what happens. I have no idea. A part of me feels the way you feel, and then another part of me is like, it just ends.
Well, so another thing too, let's go back on that. Just
Okay.
to add to that, I actually feel like if you don't live life the right way, it's repeated. Like you get
Oh,
reincarnated. So I feel like this, just because of what life is now and just kind of looking at how things are now, I really do feel like this is a prison. And I feel like that every life that you have is just a reattempt at to getting into that next level that you didn't necessarily figure out that last time. So with this life that I have now is like, okay, how can I get to that point? Like, how can I transcend once I get done from here to get to that next level of, what did I do wrong in my past? What did I not love? What did I not cherish? What did I not respect? What
yeah.
did I not do right in my past life to correct that to where I can be able to move on now? That's what I kind of feel like that also to kind of add to that is I feel like if you don't figure it out the first time, it gets repeated. But if you do kind of get down the right formula, figure out the right rhythm, live life right the
Yeah.
right way, then you do get to experience that next form of whatever it is. So,
I like that. When you have moments of doubt, what do you tell yourself to keep going?
ooh. So when I have moments of doubt, I definitely have to take a pause
Hmm.
because anxiety is just something for me.
Yeah.
Like I love to deep dive, but sometimes I feel like I deep dive too much into stuff. I overanalyze everything. So when I start to doubt certain things, I just need to take a breath. I just be like, okay, well, hold on, let's not think about this right now, because you already overwhelmed, you already this, you already that. Take a moment, let's calm down. And then let's just look at it from a third's eye perspective. Let's look at it from a different viewpoint. Like, what are you not seeing? Like, what are you not getting? Sometimes I may pick up the phone and call a friend or call my mom and be like, hey, like, how do you feel? Like, really close people that I trust is not going to steer me in the wrong way too, helps me when I like have those doubts. Just a quick phone call of just that reassurance, like, hey, do you feel like that this is the right decision, or do you feel like that how I said this, or if I'm getting ready to say this, could it be taken in the wrong way or whatever. So yeah, that's just kind of what I do. Take a breath, think with my brain, not with my emotions, and process it and move forward.
I think that's pretty dope. You seem like you have a lot of patience.
Yes, I have to remove my you have to remove your inner feelings when it comes to certain things to be able to make the best decision moving forward mentally. When you have your feelings involved, you can all that's how you make mistakes. When you step out on your heart and you make feeling decisions based off of whether your feelings are hurt or your feelings are this or your feelings are that, that's when you can start necessarily seeing certain decisions, choices not being the best for you. But when you actually think about it
Yeah.
and remove your feelings and really think, because every choice has a negative and a positive to it. In reality, it's always a compromise. Every choice is a compromise. It's either you want to deal with this more than what you want to deal with that, or you
Yes.
want to deal with this more than what you want to deal with that. To me, it is which choice is the one that's most beneficial to me, and which one do I feel like I get the most happiness from choosing. And sometimes it's not always about fame and fortune. Sometimes it's not always about money. Even currently, right now, just to kind of get off subject, right now, I do HR, right? So I'm a HR consultant. I work for a hospitality company. Right now they actually and you they kind of said it in a positive way, but I kind of looked at it kind of I don't know. I kind of took it two ways, but anyway, um budget, the company kind of right now is not doing so well on budget, right? So they ended up assessing my role and was like, hey, we're gonna move you instead of having you on full time, we're gonna move you to part time. Instead of cutting your position and rescouting for another person, we're gonna move you to part time. So necessarily bump me from making my regular 40 hours a week to, under 30, right? Which was a big whoa,
Yeah.
right? Now, keep in mind, right? This is why I say you got to be careful about what you ask and what you put out there because I always say I wanted more time, right, to do the things that I love. I said this. I said I want more time to do the things that I love, to focus and to put more things into what I need to put into. And God literally did that himself, right? Put me in a situation to where I work 3 days a week now, right? Usually I went from working 5 days a week to 3 days a week. Sometimes it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, other times it's Tuesdays through Thursdays. So every weekend is a 4-day weekend for me. But it just gives me a lot more time to focus on the things that I want to. But at first I was a little bit more pissed, because I was like, and especially because just I what they were kind of telling me was, I was doing a good job, and just kind of like, how when I first got there, the property that I worked at took a lot of work. But now I've gotten things so much to a flow that I'm not needed there on an everyday basis, which was, I guess, a shout out within its own, but also too, I kind of, and me personally, this is why I say you don't let personal things affect, what you kind of get into. Um, I was like, okay, well, how can you say that I'm doing a good job, but then you guys do this? Like that doesn't necessarily make sense. Like I feel like I need more. I feel like if I am doing a good job, then I feel like that I deserve to at least be pushed up or do this. But I actually love where I'm at now. Everything, like I said, at job is such a smooth selling thing. It pretty much run itself. I'm not really worried about that. So I have more focus to put it on things like being on a podcast or joining a show like Pop the Balloon or recording music and things like that. Certain things, and going to school because I'm actually enrolled in school right now for my master's in psychology. So even during that, taking more time to focus on to what it is that I want to do. So that right there is like another thing. Like, so it's not always about money and stuff like that. But I have been asked, I put out resumes and stuff, and people were like, hey, we can pay you this, it's full time, this, like that. But just with the way how life things are going right now, I want to put in focus into things that I love. I love my job. I love HR. I love what it is that I do in that field. But my passion is this. My passion is speaking to people. My passion is talking to people, healing people, which is why I do HR, because you get to speak to people. You get to talk to people about their problems. You get to be a resource for humans, literally. You get to speak to people about what they have going on in their life, what they have going on about work, and what can you do to make situations better. Whether it is breaking it to reality and being like, okay, look, this situation is out of our control, so let's focus on this. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's, hey, you're right, these are something that we can do better as a team. This is something that we can do better as leadership. This is something that we can do better to make the environment more welcoming to everyone. And then on personal levels, when they come to me, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with a hardship. I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with that. Okay, what do you need? That's me. What do you need? So taking those skills and applying those to things that I like to do is what I'm kind of doing right now. So I love where life is at right now. So stepping into this new era, stepping into this new transition, molting the old me, forming into the new me is what I'm at. And then letting go, grieving that old me, grieving that person who was scared, grieving that person who was ashamed, grieving that person who felt like they weren't good enough to put themselves or even be vulnerable enough to be on a platform like this to talk about how lost, how things, and even dealing with my grandparents were. So it's just, yeah, yeah, that's where I'm
Congratulations
at.
on your experiences. Congratulations on your promotion, technically,
Thank
because you
you.
had access to do other things that you
Absolutely.
really enjoy. So I think that's dope. And a lot of people would look at it differently and be like, oh, why is this happening to me? And I can't do this and I can't do that. When in actuality, you ask for more time to do the things that you love.
Ask for it. And that's why I say you have to be careful about what you ask for, because sometimes he give it to you in a way that you are not expecting. You have to stop questioning that. You have to look at everything as a big picture. Like, okay, what is the big purpose?
Yeah.
Why are you giving me more time? Literally, I was like, and so just to be very transparent, I'm actually in a financial spot to where I can be able to afford to work part time. So I was like, why are you giving me more time? Like, I like money. I like to be able to do this. I like to be able to do that. But when I really thought about it, it was like, you need more time to invest into yourself because this is something that you haven't done for a long time. It is your time. And when I started to really pick up on the signs and really start picking up on that, I'm like, you know what? He's right. Have to stop doubting that. Have to start moving and moving into a direction of what he says because not every step is meant for you to understand. Sometimes you just have to follow those steps and just know that the income out of it is going to be great because what he said is in the end you will win. And what did my grandmother call me? A winner. And I believe that in everybody too. Like, you're a winner at the end of the day. Like, we're all winners, and our pathway is to win. So it's just like, remove yourself, remove those doubts, remove those insecurities, remove those fears, and just step. Just trust. Just know that those footsteps, even though at first they may feel like tiny baby footsteps, when they start moving at 300 miles an hour, you can look back and be like, this is why. This is the whole reason. So, yes.
So, what do you have to say to people that are watching, to people that may want to go on the show, people that may have gotten promoted, because we're not calling it demotion, we're calling it promoted,
Right.
do something else with their life. What do you say to those folks?
Whatever you do, I want to say do it with a purpose. I'm not going to ever tell you to either do it this way or do it that way, but just make sure whatever that is that you're doing it with a purpose and you're doing it with a meaning, and that meaning means something to you. And that because regardless of what you say, like, everything that you do is going to be a reflection of you. So you have to remember, is this something I want to be remembered by forever? And every step that you do and every single take that you do. So make sure that you are moving with a purpose, that you're moving with a bigger reason, that you're moving with a bigger purpose because other people are watching you, other people are seeing you, other people are feeling the energy that you're radiating off of that. And who's to say what people are going through when they're watching certain things? So it's like, always, like I say, move with a purpose. That's number one. Move with a purpose, move with a deeper meaning, and move with an understanding of knowing whether it is good or bad, that this is what you're doing. And you know the outcome of whatever it is that you're going to do and be content with that. So move with a purpose is just the biggest thing that I have to say.
There is a question that I like to ask my guests that I stole from Angie Martinez. Well, I didn't steal it. I'm borrowing it.
Okay.
Her in real life podcast. And since I'm borrowing the question, I need to tell people to watch it.
Absolutely.
But she has a question in her bowl that I think is so necessary, especially for conversations, the type of conversations that I have. And it is, if God were to text you right now, what would he say?
If God was to text me right now, he would tell me to just keep going forward. That's what he would tell me. Regardless of, again, the fears, the doubts, the questions that I may have, as long as I keep moving forward and I keep progressing and I keep going in this direction, everything is going to be fine. So that's what he would tell me. Keep moving forward.
And I have one more question for you.
Okay.
What does soul food mean to you?
Soul food?
Uh-huh.
Like food, like eating, like
Yes.
so.
Yes.
Oh, I love soul food. So soul food is just when I see soul food, I think of Sunday dinner,
Yes.
grandma house, all the family, aunties, uncles, cousins, mom, dad, things of that sort. I think of gathering when I think of soul food. I think of community when I think of soul food. I think of love when I think of soul food. Because grandma done, grandpa, aunties, uncles, they've been in that kitchen all day, all night, putting their blood, sweat, and tears in that pot of macaroni and cheese, that collard greens, them ham, turkey necks, that chicken, sweat into all that stuff. So when I think of soul food, I think of love. That's what I think of because that's what brought my family together. And I miss those days. Unfortunately, I'm not home. I don't live in my hometown of Kansas City. So I don't get to experience like those Sunday dinners with my immediate family as much as possible, but here I'm trying to establish a family in Atlanta to be able to have those same feelings with, because I do believe that friends can also be extended family. Not all family is blood, but when I think of soul food, that's what I think of is love and community.
That's dope. I'll invite you over because I mean, there's soul food here all the
Oh, and
time.
I can cook. I meant to say that. Yes, I could cook. When I said I was an old soul on the show, I play spades, I two step, I cook, I do it all. I'm trying to tell you, I cook. My mac and cheese, my chicken off the chain. It's off the chain.
Your fried
Off the
chicken?
chain. My fr Hey, look, it is a 100-year-old recipe. I kid you not that I tweaked. I tweaked. It's
Okay.
good. From scratch.
I mean, I just
It's
fried
good.
chicken the other day, so I'm up for a challenge.
It's good. Yes. It is good.
That's
It
dope.
take me a whole day to make it. Literally. Like the marination, I gotta let it sit in the juices and that wet dip for a day. Yes. That my fried chicken something serious.
Okay. I doubt.
Yes, got to.
I like to always, before we end the episode, give the opportunity to ask me a question if there is one. Um,
Yes. So what made you want to open up a platform for people to be able to talk about um grieving, and just kind of like what is your experience on grief
Lord.
yourself?
Uh, I'm gonna make this answer quick.
Got you.
But why the reason I really started this is I had a platform before. My Instagram and socials name is My Black Self, and I had a podcast called My Black Self.
Right.
And then I transitioned to this because during that old podcast, my sister died, my grandmother died, and a lot of people was just boom, boom, boom dying. And then people were coming up to me that I did not know, and they would talk to me about their grief or about any type of transition or past relationship. And it was just stuff I was getting all the time. So I was like, is it meant for me to like change everything and have this type of conversation, because that's
Right.
all I was getting. I would be at shows, just sitting minding my business, and I would meet somebody and be like, "Oh my God, my such and such has died," and I'm like, "What?" And then I'm
Right.
learning their story. Um, and of course, I enjoy talking to people and learning things about folks and asking some of the same questions to people to get different answers, or sometimes you get the same answer and you see what certain
Right.
people have in common, and just getting up in people's business about their experience in life. So my sister died in 2021.
Wow.
And
And
shortly,
COVID was a crazy time.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I moved back to Atlanta in 2018, and I had time to not 2018, last year, 20 what year are we in? 26?
2026.
When did I move here? 20 last year. Yeah, I moved here last year,
2025.
last March. Yeah,
Okay.
20. I used to live here before, and I left here originally in 2018. That's where that came from.
Okay.
But so once I got here and I had time to like just settle, because I was living in Texas, it was a lot going on. So I had time to just settle and clear my brain. And I was like, I'm gonna start another podcast, but a different one.
Right.
So that's how this all happened.
Okay, that's great. Good hearing you doing such a good job. Like this is, people need to hear this, because you never know what people are going through, and just people hearing what other people's experiences are, can maybe help them get through what they're going through. It just brings us together, that community, that connection, makes us feel like we're not alone when we are experiencing stuff. So I appreciate this. I appreciate this so much for you to start this platform and to build a community for people that are experiencing stuff, to just all come together and just to love on each other and let people know that we're here, we're human, and yeah.
Yes, that's pretty much what it's
So.
about. And I appreciate you for coming on and taking the time out of your busy schedule to take.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And since we're both in Atlanta, I probably need to bug you and hit you up one of these days to do something. But
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. Local. Absolutely.
yeah,
Please keep in touch.
We definitely will. Anything else, or are you good?
No, I don't have anything. That's all I have.
All right. Well, thank you for joining How You Grieving.
Yes, thank you so much.
Traé's journey is a testament to the importance of embracing personal growth through self reflection, authenticity, and empathy. By grieving the old versions of ourselves, we can step into our true potential and build healthier relationships. As you reflect on your own journey, I want you to consider what fears or doubts you might need to let go in order to embrace your authentic self. Remember, personal growth is a continuous journey that involves learning, unlearning, and evolving. And we will see you again next Sunday at 11:17 a.m. for another episode of How You Grieving.